Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel Cakes by MK. Today I'm going to show you guys how to achieve this crazy cake trend which is going on at the moment, which is called the sugar sheet technique, and you end up with a gorgeous cake like this. So stay tuned and I hope you guys enjoy this video. So the first step to making our sugar sheet today is coloring our sugar. So what I've got here is 2 cups of white granulated sugar, and I'm going to mix that with about 2 drops of this really beautiful peach color, which I'm wanting my sugar sheet to be today. And a really easy way to do that is to put our sugar into a snap lock bag and then put the drops of coloring in and then just move it around with our fingers until all the sugar is completely covered. So now I'm just going to close up my bag, make sure that the air is all out, make sure it's closed really tight, and then you're just going to use your fingers to move all the sugar around. Alright, so once our sugar's all nicely mixed, the next step is to mix it with some glucose syrup. Now today I've got 4 tablespoons of glucose syrup. And what I've done is I've just put it into the microwave for about 10 seconds just so that it becomes a little bit more liquid so that it's easier to mix in with the sugar. And I'm going to start off by mixing those 2 together with a spoon. Now once it's mostly mixed, the next thing that I like to do is to just get my fingers in there. And I find that that's the easiest way to make sure that the sugar and the glucose is evenly mixed. So once you've mixed it and it's come to kind of like a sandy texture, then that means that we're now ready to roll it out. Now it is quite sticky, so you've probably got quite a bit on your hands, so I'm just going to go wash my hands and then we'll be back to roll it out. My hands are all clean now and we're ready to roll out our sugar sheet. Now one thing to keep in mind when rolling out your sugar sheet is that you don't want to roll it out too thin. And the reason for that is because this is a sugar mixture, so in places which have high humidity, it does have a chance of wilting. And so if we make it a little bit thicker, then it's less likely to wilt. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and put my mixture onto a piece of baking paper or parchment paper. You can even do this on a silicone sheet, anything that's non-stick. And then I'm basically going to put another sheet of baking paper on top, and then I'm going to roll it out with a rolling pin. And what you want to do is just start gently rolling it out. Now what you want to do when you've rolled it out is you want to go ahead and make sure that there's no pieces which have been completely removed from the main sugar sheet. And if there are any pieces like that, you can just use your fingers to reattach it and then go over and roll it once more. So our sugar sheet is all rolled out and now we're ready to harden it up so that we can put it around our cake. Now this part of the process I've gotten wrong so many times, but through trial and error I finally found a method which seems to work for me, so I really hope it works for you guys as well. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this air dry for 1 hour. and then I'm going to put it into the oven for 12 minutes at 50 degrees, so a really low temperature. And then I'm going to take it out, let it completely cool, and then we'll be back to wrap it around our cake. Our sugar sheet is out of the oven now and fully cooled. It was cooling for about half an hour, and now it's ready to wrap around our cake. So you can go ahead and feel the sugar sheet, and if it seems like it's malleable enough to move but it's not going to break, then that's when you know that it's ready to wrap around your cake. So what I've got here is a pre-iced cake. It's a small 6-inch cake and it's got American buttercream on it. Now this is another crucial step to making sure that your sugar sheet does not fall apart, and that is to make sure that you use an icing which doesn't release a lot of moisture. So if you're using a buttercream, you want to use an American buttercream because it has a crusting around it. Whereas if you try it with, a Swiss meringue buttercream, which I have done before, it just doesn't work. I mean, it's okay if you're only putting the, sugar sheet on the edges, then it will stick to the sides. But as soon as you get it any bit higher than the top of the cake, then those kind of edges start to wilt in, and it's not very good. So you want to stick to an American buttercream or a fondant or a ganache, something like that, which is going to, set pretty well. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to cut a line out at the bottom of our sugar sheet, and that's going to be the part of the sheet which sits at the bottom of the cake, so that we have a really nice straight bottom on our cake. Now another thing to keep in mind is that you don't want your sugar sheet to be too high above the top of your cake. And the reason for that is because if you are stuck in unfortunate weather where it's really humid, then what's going to happen is that your sugar sheet will wilt in. So the closer we keep it to the top of our cake, then the less likely it is that the wilting will happen. Now the way that I'm going to make sure that my sugar sheet is not too high is that I'm going to use my cake scraper, which has got measurements on it, to measure the height of my cake, and then I'm going to use that to measure the height that I want on my sugar sheet so that it's just a little bit higher above the top of the cake. So my cake is about 10 centimeters, so I'm going to go for maybe about 11.5 centimeters on my sugar sheet. And now I'm just using my cake scraper to line out a straight line, and then I'll go ahead and cut it out. Alright, now I've got my sugar sheet cut out, and now we're going to wrap it around our cake. Now you just want to be really gentle when doing this because you don't want to break the sugar sheet. So just gentle, starting from the front and bringing it back with your hands. So our sugar sheet is nicely wrapped around our cake now. Now my one didn't actually make it all the way around, but again, this is a stylistic choice. Some people prefer to have it open there and then kind of, decorate it up the top and then put things around. But if you would prefer to have your cake completely covered in the sugar sheet, then just increase the quantities that I mentioned before when we're making our initial sugar mixture, and then you should roll it out and have enough to completely wrap around your cake. Now to finish off, I've got some gold metallic paint, and I'm going to use that to paint the tips of the sugar sheet. Alright, so I finished the tips on my sugar sheet. Now one thing to keep in mind is not to have too much paint on your paintbrush, otherwise you run the risk of the paint coming down onto the sugar sheet like it has on mine. But yeah, apart from that, you guys can go ahead and continue to decorate this in however way you like. You can put flowers on top, you can put sprinkles, chocolate decorations, whatever you like. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this, and thanks again for watching Cakes by MK. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to check out my blog at www.cakesbymk.com, which I will post a link to below. And on there I've got the full recipes and instructions to the different things that I make on my YouTube videos, and I'll also be regularly updating links to different baking products that you can purchase online. Also, if you have any suggestions for different content that you'd like to see, then please leave me a comment below or on my Instagram and Facebook pages, which I will also link below. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you next time.